So every year we undertake 20% of the city's roadside ditches. And what we have found is since we started this program through these rain events, the areas we have come through and done this work, the ditches are performing correctly, they're draining the water off, and it really has reduced our calls in those areas.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Beaumont Beat video podcast where we move with the heartbeat of the city. I'm your host, Tracy Kennick. If you've lived in Southeast Texas for any time at all, you know we get a lot of rain here. In fact, Beaumont gets about twice the annual amount of rainfall seen by the rest of the nation. And with all that water, unfortunately, of course, comes flooding and drainage issues also not seen by other parts of the nation. And that can create some challenges. So it's important to have someone super qualified to handle all of these issues. And that person for the city of Beaumont is our Public Works Director, Amalia, or as we like to call her, Molly Villarreal. And she's joining us in just a moment to talk about some of the ongoing projects and what we are doing to alleviate some of these issues for our citizens. But before we get to all that, we want to remind you it is hurricane season, and we want you to stay informed and ready by making sure you're registered with STAN and STEER. STAN is the Southeast Texas Alerting Network, and it gives you real-time alerts about emergencies affecting our area. You can sign up at thestan.com. STEER, or State of Texas Emergency Assistance Registry, make sure that those with medical or mobility needs aren't forgotten during a disaster. You can call 211 to sign up or visit beaumonttexas.gov/emergency management and click on the STEER logo. Now let's get into today's show. Molly, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's start off by telling people a little bit about what you do here at the city. You've been here a long time. Tell us how many years you've been here and the jobs you've held before becoming Public Works Director.
So in August, I will have 15 years of service with the city of Beaumont, and I joined the city as the water utilities engineer, and I was in that position for 9 years before coming to Public Works in January of 2020 to serve as the city engineer. And then last October, I was promoted to the Assistant Public Works Director position. And then early this year, I was promoted to the Public Works Director position. Prior to coming to the city, I graduated from Lamar University. Go Big Red.
That's right.
And my bachelor's is in civil engineering. And I had 13 years of experience as a consultant for residential land development, local drainage districts, doing commercial development. And so we're really working here in the Southeast Texas area, which gave me a broad knowledge of drainage issues, street construction, water and sewer utilities, environmental permitting. And so it gave me a very thorough background in the challenges that I encounter every day working with the city of Beaumont.
Yeah, super qualified with all of that experience. So
Thank you.
We're glad that we have you. Let's talk about drainage now. Mm-hmm. And I know we've just recently had a lot of rain, a lot of flash flooding.
Yes.
And of course that gets our citizens talking, and they're worried about low-lying areas in particular.
Definitely.
But I did hear a local meteorologist say the other day, our issues and flooding issues are significantly better than even just a few years ago. So it shows we are making progress.
Yes, and I definitely would agree with that. We have continued to work every day to improve our storm sewer system. So that consists of the inlets that you see on the sides of the road, the roadside ditches, cleaning out culverts, anything that we can do. If we see an issue that we can immediately address, we either dispatch our streets and drainage crews to work on that, or if it is a broader scope, then we engage the necessary consultants, whether it's a contractor that has the larger equipment or an engineering firm to help us design through these challenges so that we can make improvements in the city. And I do want to give an example of an improvement.
Okay.
11th Street. So the area of 11th Street, if you were driving and turned on Calder, headed north towards Interstate 10, that stretch of 11th Street has had a long history of flooding. And I was very proud to see that in pictures that were shared with us of the issues that were going on during that intense rain, I think the signals were out. I think there were some signs down, but the road was not flooded. And we keep historic photos of significant floods. And 11th Street is one of those, that exact area of 11th Street. We have photos going back to the 70s and 60s, depending on the model of the car, which helped us kind of track the timeline. And the water was over the tires. So that is a huge improvement to a critical area because that is our access to St. Elizabeth Hospital.
Oh, right. Okay, and there are a few, and I know even talking with Mike Harris in our water department, he said the calls for service have significantly gone down over the years as well. What are some of the areas that you still have the most concern with in the city right now?
They are scattered throughout the city, so there's not a particular concentration of concern, but from the north end up around Broad Oak in the area that goes to Pine Island Bow, we are looking at some studies in that area to make improvements. We are also, looking in the Amelia area. Avalon Street was an area that was heavily impacted by the recent rains, and we're working through solutions to see what we can do there. Delaware Street between Lucas and Interstate 10. That is an area of repetitive issues that we are looking at. There's areas headed towards the south end of town, in the South Park area, that we have identified that need more attention. So we are focusing our resources on these areas that these recent rains have revealed to us that they need attention. And hopefully they're not larger systemic issues, but areas that, with some attention, we can clear this up.
So what would you say to the residents in these areas? Because we get a lot of them saying, hey, is my voice being heard? I've had these issues, and it feels almost like they want a solution quick, right?
Yes.
Which is understandable.
Understandable.
But obviously some of these solutions can't come as quickly as they would like them. What would you want to say to these residents in these areas?
I would first and foremost want to thank them for their patience and their understanding, and always encourage our citizens to report the issue through the 311. That is our data tracking system. That is our work order system. That is going to dispatch a crew immediately. And then if they find a larger issue that they can't immediately address, then that is when it gets escalated to the engineering group. Definitely do that. Photographs always are helpful, especially when it comes time for grant applications, or as we're trying to pursue funding. The photographs, the videos that have the dates on them go a long way. The picture is worth 1,000 words. And so all of that information is helpful to us to continue to make sure that we're addressing it. We cycle back through our list of drainage projects regularly, and so if any time a citizen feels that, hey, what happened with this? I haven't heard back from y'all, reach out. But we do make every effort we can to periodically contact those citizens and just give them an update, even if there's not an update, to make sure that they understand that we have not forgotten about them. We are continuing to press forward. I think sometimes is important to know that we have not forgotten about them, and we take their concerns very seriously.
Okay, and I think it's important to note, too, that some of these big drainage projects are actually handled through Jefferson County's Drainage District 6, right? How do we work in conjunction with them?
So rainwater doesn't recognize a jurisdictional boundary. It just goes where it wants to go. And so a strong relationship with Jefferson County Drainage District 6 is crucial to our citizens and our community for flood protection. So the city is responsible for what we would consider more urban storm sewer system. So those are your roadside ditches and culverts. Those are your curb inlets that you see on the side of the street. Some of the storm sewer that is underground. Then that water has to go somewhere, and it drains to these larger ditches, these larger bayous, the Neches River. And these bayous, which would be Hillebrand Bayou, Pine Island Bayou, and then the ditch network that connects to them, generally are owned and maintained by Drainage District 6. So if we make an improvement to our storm sewer system, whether we increase sizes of inlets or culverts to carry more water, that water, we have to know that the receiving stream, which would be one of these ditches or bows, is able to receive that water. Otherwise, we have not done a good job of planning our projects to make sure that it's going to have the maximum impact.
Okay, yeah. I didn't even know that. So you educated me on some things. Thank you, Molly. Well, in just a moment, we're going to talk dollars and cents. How much are we really spending, and how much have we spent so far? What are we planning to spend in the future when it comes to your drainage and sewer issues? But first, we have a couple of chances for you to join us for our Summer Movies in the Park series. There are 2 more opportunities. These are free, family-friendly movie nights happening at different parks throughout the city. And we just ask that you bring your blanket, your lawn chair, enjoy a movie under the stars with us. So July 25th, it is MUFASA at Charlton Pollard Park. And on August 8th, catch IF at Central Park. All the movies start at dusk, and they are free and open to the public. And now back to our conversation with our Public Works Director, Molly Villarreal. And being in the position I am here as the Director of Communications, I get a lot of feedback from our citizens. And I feel like a lot of times they're hesitant for us to spend, as a city, to spend money on other areas of the city, like our parks or our downtown development, because they want to say, well, first, my street's still flooding, or my toilets aren't flushing, or whatever those issues are, and they feel like we're not spending money there. Let's talk about that, because we really are. Let's talk about how much we're spending in these areas.
So for the drainage realm, we have committed for this fiscal year, which we still have 2 more months in, $9 million towards drainage improvements. So that includes the West Lucas storm line rehabilitation, which is a major drainage outfall through kind of the heart of the city, from Delaware all the way south across Calder to the Drainage District ditch. That has been a major undertaking. We also have increased our funding over the last year to about $400,000 per year for the maintenance and upkeep of our underpass pump stations. So we have 8 underpasses in the city that are drained, of course, through a pump, because it's low. Yeah. It's a bowl. And that commitment of that funding, it has been very important to continue to upkeep that. It's a harsh environment for those pumps to pump that rainwater, because it has a lot of sand and silt, debris, the litter. Mm-hmm. And so it does require quite a bit to keep that maintained. And so very thankful that the city has increased the funding for that. That is very important to us. We also have our roadside ditching program. So at this most recent council meeting, council closed out the phase 2B of the ditching contract, which was a significant improvement, and awarded phase 3 of the ditching contract. So,
okay, explain what that means to the
I
citizens.
will, absolutely. And it's one of the programs that we initiated a few years ago, and I'm so happy to see the benefits of it. So the city has not just streets with curb and gutter, but they also have open roadside ditches. And it is important to make sure that those roadside ditches are sloped correctly to get the water from that ditch that may be in front of someone's home to the outfall channel to get it out to the major streams and bows. Okay. And also, too, the driveway culverts are very important to make sure that they are sized correctly and that they are at the proper slope, at the proper elevation, so that they're not creating a dam in that roadside ditch. And so our program is a 5-year program. So every year we undertake 20% of the city's roadside ditches. And it's like, wow, 5 years to get through this. But when you realize that this contract that we just awarded is over 60 linear miles of roadside ditches that we're going to do for about $2.5 million, it does have a significant impact. So we are grading the ditches, making sure that they are opened up and free and clear to drain the water. And the culverts, if they are found to be too small, or if they are not at the right elevation, more than 3 inches out of elevation, we're replacing them.
Okay.
And what we have found is, since we started this program, through these rain events, the areas we have come through and done this work, the ditches are performing correctly, they're draining the water off, and it really has reduced our calls in those areas. And so we are encouraged to continue to do this work. Council has approved this new contract, and it is going to impact all 4 wards. And on the city's website, we will be publishing the maps of where this new contract is going to work, to be doing work. And you can always go back and look at the work that we have already accomplished. Mm-hmm. So those maps are already live on the Public Works page, and there's an option for the roadside ditching program, and you can view those maps there.
Okay, fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk now a little bit about the bond election, because there are certain projects that are being proposed to go on that, and some of them are infrastructure, but not all. I mean, a lot of people are saying, I want just drainage and roads or whatever, but I want to talk, how will putting some of these other items on that bond proposal then free up money to go to some of these critical drainage projects you're talking about?
Certainly. So the city operates with different pots of money to do their improvement works. And so water and sewer projects are paid through the revenues collected from the water and sewer rates. Every time a customer pays their bill, we collect those funds, and that goes to our revenue fund. It's an enterprise fund. And so those major projects are paid out of those revenues. And then you have our certificates of obligation, which is the debt that the city issues annually to do improvement work. And that is, for the most part, the work that we have been doing. And it really does focus on the rehabilitation, replacement, and improvements of existing facilities that we have. You know, we're spending $9 million this year directly related to drainage, but on the on the road portion, we're spending for this year, we're on course to spend about $12 million on street rehabilitation and pavement improvement projects. So
those potholes people are talking about, $12 million?
Yes, and that actually is a great point to bring up. So our pothole program, that is also another map that we have on the city's website. Our streets and drainage crews are committed to addressing pothole complaints within 48 hours. Mm-hmm. And so when we receive that communication through 311 especially, they will go out and address that matter.
And you can follow it along. Right?
And you can follow it along because the map is live. And so when that work order is closed out, you will see that on the map. And we are very dedicated to that. If a road is in more interesting condition and it's not exactly smooth, a lot of times we will get calls saying that it is pothole, but it's actually just a rough road. And there is another page where we communicate that data of what we call our pavement condition index. And so we have a company that goes out and assesses the condition of every road in the city of Beaumont, and they score it. And so our street rehab program, which generally runs about $6 million per year for the asphalt pavement, the decisions that are made on which streets we're going to do is directly coming from that pavement condition index study. And so we are dedicated to fixing those rough roads and get that. So we have the data, and with just working through that to improve the city's roads for everyone.
Okay. I know in your position, you probably hear a lot of chatter, right? Yes. People talking about, because it's the hot button issue. I mean, people want good drainage and they want good roads. And I think that goes for every city across the nation.
Absolutely.
But what would be something that you would want to tell citizens that you think maybe gets misinterpreted, or you hear and you're like, oh, if I could just get this point, drive home this point to our citizens, what would be that message?
And I really would want the citizens to understand that we drive these roads every day. Our work is here, and we are deeply committed. I am so proud to work with the City of Beaumont team. I have genuinely enjoyed my teammates, and they're dedicated They are
really
very, they are
I agree
committed
with
to
that.
the work. They want to do a good job. They strive every day to do that. And they're proud of the work that they do, and I'm proud of the work that they do. And, let us know where the problem is and help us help you to address the concerns and the issues that are going on. Always, let us know through the 311 app where the issue is. But, the citizens' safety, their welfare, and their health is our primary mission. And so we are committed to making sure that we're doing the best that we can to serve them daily.
All right. I love that. And it is aging infrastructure, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Yes.
But I can attest to the fact that you guys are working really hard to handle some of these issues. And we
It
are
is.
making improvements, as we mentioned.
We absolutely are. I was very encouraged. The 11th Street area, the 7th Street project, I'm giving away my age, but I remember driving those areas in these rain events or even less intense rain events, going to work and worried if my vehicle was going to flood out.
Right.
And now to be able to drive those streets safely and get from point A to point B in these rain events, it cannot be understated. And so we want to continue to have those wins for the city of Beaumont.
All right. Once again, tell us the numbers for drainage and the numbers for roads that are being spent right now.
Right now, for roads, we're spending $12 million, and then for drainage, we're spending $9 million. And, always encourage our citizens to go on the city's website again and look on the finance page and look at our capital program so that you can see the projects that we have identified. There's summary pages that will tally it up for just per category. And then behind that are the worksheets that describe the projects and what our goals are, the work that we intend to accomplish.
All right. Thank you, Molly. And thanks for being so open and transparent with the work that the city's doing. I know I see Molly on the daily working very diligently to make sure that these projects are underway and that we're making improvements for the city. So appreciate all that you're doing.
Thank you.
And your staff as well.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us. We hope you're going to join us again for our next episode of the Beaumont Beat. And we are going to be talking with Economic Development Manager Christina Loki about the upcoming bond election and some of the projects on there. And if you'd like to learn more about the projects that are being considered for the bond committee, go to beaumonttexas.gov/bond or beaumontbonds.com. And you can also watch our past meetings and see the presentations that have been given by the committee. And as always, you can stream this show and past episodes of the Beaumont Beat on multiple platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to our channel, like this episode, and share it with others so they too can enjoy it. For now, though, I'm Tracy Kennick. Thanks for tuning in to the Beaumont Beat, where we move with the heartbeat of the city. We'll see you next time.